step out of the fog today and make a major change in your life. Stop staying stuck where you are. Today, on Layers of Living Water, I share a story that will help you change your life. There was a small little town that had this beautiful park, and in the middle of that park there was an old wooden bench. That bench was pretty well dilapidated. One of the arms was missing, the other one was cracked, but yet it was there. It did not matter that there were nice new benches that the park had been put in. For you see, an older gentleman, every day he went to the park and he sat on that same bench. Every day at the same time, there he would be. And as the people were walking around, they saw him but really didn't notice him. It didn't matter that every day at exactly the same time, exactly the same spot, there he would come and there he would sit. Nobody took time to talk to him. Nobody took time to find out what was going on. He never walked. He just came and sat. And then after a little bit, he would leave and go on. Life went on, kept going on. People kept walking until one day, a young lady who walked in the park every day noticed the old man is no longer there. I wonder what happened. The days turned into weeks, and after a few weeks, she started feeling bad as to why she no longer saw the older gentleman. He no longer came. He no longer sat there. And she wondered what had happened. She said, I think I'll ask some of the walkers. So she saw another gentleman who she had seen on a very regular basis. She went up to him and she said, excuse me, sir, do you know anything about that older gentleman that was coming to the bench every day? The man nodded. He told her, he said, yes, I do, young lady. And she said, well, do you mind sharing with me? And he said, absolutely not. What was his name? He said his name was Samuel. And he was coming for probably about 20 years. And the young lady looked for a moment and she said, wow, 20 years. Was he waiting for somebody? Did somebody not show up? She just couldn't imagine why he could be coming there. And nobody ever joined him. Nobody go up to him. He said, no, young lady, that was not the case at all. You see, about 20 years ago, Samuel's wife passed away. Her eyes dropped as she felt bad for never talking to him. She felt bad for never seeing what was going on in his life. The older walker went on and he said, Samuel was coming to the park because when he stayed at home, he felt all the pain. He would remember all the good times that he and his wife had had in their home, but then the sadness of her being gone would come in and bother him. So he would come to the park just to get away from the sadness. The young lady was beginning to feel worse, wondering why I had never talked to him. And the older gentleman said, young lady, don't worry. For you see, the end of the story got much better. And she said, well, how could that be? Can you tell me more? He said, oh yes, I'll be glad to tell you. He said, for you see, one day he told me he started coming there because not dealing with the pain, he felt better just sitting on the bench, sitting out in the open, sitting there enjoying the beauty. But then one day as he was sitting there, he began to realize that life was changing. He began to realize that things were still happening. He all of a sudden began to notice the beautiful sunrise and how it reflected off of the water. He began to notice the small young boy who was learning to ride his bike and got better and better. And the joy and the happiness that was in that young man as he learned to ride. He began to notice life was moving on and things were changing. And then Samuel called me over one day and he said to me, he said, you see, the hardest part, it's not about losing somebody, it's not about changing, but it's learning to deal with that silenceness. It's learning to deal with that hurt that's inside of you. You, my friend, may be there today. You may be dealing with the hurt. You may be dealing with the pain. You may even be dealing with a loss of someone you loved greatly. But you see, Samuel had learned all of a sudden life does not stop. Things will change whether you choose to see it or not. The two stood there for a moment. The young lady didn't really know what to say. She didn't know how to feel. She was starting to feel bad. The older Walker realized it and he said, but let me tell you more. For Samuel told me something that was so valuable and so key. He said he came there at first because he was hurting. He came there because he didn't want to deal with the pain. But as he sat there, he began to realize that life was moving on. Life was already beginning to come back inside of him. The young woman looked for a moment. She seemed a little confused, and the other Walker and said, young lady, Samuel began to notice things. And so come with me for a moment. Let me show you the plaque that was put on that old bench. And this is the reason why that old bench never goes away. The young lady looked down and began to read it. And this is what she read. Don't mistake quiet seasons of your life for empty seasons. Don't mistake the pain and the hurt you're feeling right now and think that's the way it's going to be all the time. Just because you feel it now, don't believe that your prayers have gone unanswered. Don't believe the chapter is ended and your life will never change again. Because life always keeps moving. Life always keeps changing. Many times even before we notice it. Life keeps moving. Healing begins before you feel it. Strength begins returning into your body, into your life, even before you recognize it. Hope often arrives quietly, not with fanfare, not with fireworks, but quietly. No noise, it just comes in, and hope begins to change things. Hope begins to turn your life around. This is what the plaque read. So you see, my friend, if you are hurting today, if you are in that place where you feel like the world has stopped and nobody cares about you, then lift your head today and begin to realize that life is changing. Things are moving. You will not be in that place of hurt forever. You will not be stuck with those feelings forever. Maybe your bench is not as empty as you think. Maybe your life is not as empty as you think. Maybe you just haven't realized until you've heard this story today that hope is rising up inside of you. All you have to do today is look up and realize it. Stop feeling like life has stopped. Stop feeling like you will never amount to anything. Realize that when you take that first step, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be small. But as you take it, And every time you take it, things will begin to change. Do one little thing today that brings hope into your life. And then the next day, do it again. For you see, my friend, you don't have to stay where you are. Hope is there. It is coming back in. Things are beginning to change. All you have to do is lift your eyes and realize it.